Axis and Allies, a Basic Rules. Primer Axis and Allies is a classic World War II strategy board game for 2 to 5 players. One side controls the Axis powers, Germany and Japan, and the other controls the Allies, the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union. The goal is simple in concept, but rich in strategy. Defeat your enemies by capturing their capital cities, or grind them down until they can no longer fight back. Here is everything you need to know to get started. The board. The game is played on a large map of the world divided into territories, land areas, and sea zones, ocean areas. Each territory has a name and, importantly, an industrial production value, IPC value, a number that tells you how much economic value that territory is worth. Controlling more and better territories means more money, which means more units, which means more power. Each player starts the game controlling a set of territories as historically accurate to World War II as possible. The pieces. Each nation has its own color of playing pieces representing military units. The standard unit types are land units, infantry, cheap, reliable, the backbone of any army artillery, boosts the attack power of accompanying infantry tanks, powerful and fast-moving attacking units, anti-aircraft guns, AA guns, stationary units that fire at enemy aircraft flying over your territory, industrial complexes, not a combat unit, but allows you to produce new units in that territory, air units, fighters, versatile, used for both attack and defense bombers, powerful attackers, and can conduct strategic bombing raids on enemy industry naval units, battleships, the most powerful and durable ships, cruisers, a mid-range naval unit in some editions, aircraft carriers, transport and support fighters at sea destroyers, counters submarines, and provides general naval support, submarines, stealthy and cost-effective attackers, transports, carry land units across sea zones, cannot attack. How a turn works. Play proceeds in a set order around the table. Soviet Union, Germany, United Kingdom, Japan, United States. Each nation completes all of its phases before the next nation takes its turn. A nation's turn has the following phases. 1. Research and development. Optional. You may spend IPCs to roll dice and try to unlock a technology advancement, things like improved aircraft, heavy bombers, or industrial technology. This phase is optional and somewhat luck dependent, so beginners can skip it. 2. Purchase units. Count your current IPC total and decide what new units to buy. Pay for them by removing IPC tokens from your supply. The units don't appear on the board yet. Place them aside. They will be placed at the end of your turn. 3. Combat move. Move your units into position to attack. Any unit you move into a territory or sea zone occupied by the enemy is committing to a battle. You must follow movement rules. Most land units can move one territory, tanks can move 2, and air units can move several territories, but must land somewhere safe at the end of the turn. 4. Conduct combat. Resolve all battles you declared in the combat move phase. Battles are resolved with dice rolls. See combat below. 5. Non-combat move. Move any units that did not participate in combat. This is how you reposition defenders, move transports, and get units into place for future turns. 6. Place new units. Place the units you purchased at the start of your turn onto the board. Units must be placed in a territory you control that contains an industrial complex. 7. Collect income. Count up all the IPC values of territories you currently control. Add that amount to your IPC total. This is your budget for next turn. How combat works. When your units move into an enemy-occupied territory or sea zone, a battle takes place. Combat is resolved in rounds, each of which works like this. The attacker rolls dice for all attacking units. Each unit type has an attack value. For example, infantry attack on a roll of 1, meaning they score a hit if you roll a 1 on a 6-sided die. Tanks attack on a 3, meaning a roll of 1, 2, or 3 is a hit. The defender rolls dice for all defending units. Similarly, each unit has a defense value. Infantry defend on a 2, fighters defend on a 4, and so on. Hits are applied. After both sides roll, hits are assigned. The opponent chooses which of their own units are removed as casualties, but casualties still get to roll in the current round before being taken off the board. This continues round by round until one side is completely destroyed, or until the attacker chooses to retreat to a territory they came from. If the attacker wins, and the territory is now empty of enemy units, they move their surviving attacking units into the territory and take control of it. If it contained the enemy's capital, that's a major blow. The enemy loses all unspent IPCs, and those go to the capturing nation. Winning the game. The standard victory condition is capturing enemy capital cities. The Axis capitals are Berlin and Tokyo. The Allied capitals are Moscow, London, and Washington, D.C. The most common victory conditions are: Axis win by capturing a set number of Allied capitals, often 2 out of 3. Allied win by capturing both Berlin and Tokyo. Some versions of the game also use a victory city system, where control of a certain number of key cities around the world determines the winner. A few key rules to remember. Industrial complexes matter enormously. You can only produce new units where you have an industrial complex. Protect yours and consider building new ones in captured territories. Air units must land safely. At the end of every turn, every fighter and bomber must be in a friendly territory or on a friendly aircraft carrier. If there's nowhere to land, the unit is lost. Submarines are sneaky. In most editions, submarines can submerge to avoid combat, and enemy units cannot hit submarines unless a destroyer is present. Transports cannot attack. Naval transports exist solely to ferry land units across sea zones. They are extremely valuable and extremely vulnerable. Protect them. The Allies are powerful but slow. The United States starts with little presence on the board, but has enormous economic potential. It takes several turns to mobilize fully, which is why early Axis aggression is so important. Tips for new players. Don't spread yourself too thin. Trying to attack everywhere at once leaves you weak everywhere. Pick a direction and commit. Infantry are your best value. They're cheap and defend well. Build a lot of them. Control the seas if you're Japan or the UK. Island nations live and die by their naval power. Letting your opponent dominate the ocean is a slow death. Talk to your teammates. Axis and allies is as much about coordination between allied nations as it is about individual strategy. The allies especially need to work together. The Soviet Union holds the Eastern Front, while the US and UK prepare to push back. Don't neglect defense. New players often spend everything on attacking units and leave their own territories poorly defended. One successful counterattack can undo several turns of progress. Final word. Axis and allies rewards patience, planning, and cooperation. Your first game will likely feel chaotic. There are a lot of moving pieces and decisions to make. That's completely normal. By your second or third game, the strategy starts to reveal itself, and you'll find it's one of the most satisfying and replayable games ever made. Good luck, and may history bend in your favor.